coming up with the character was weirdly difficult, and I wouldn't think playing a Barbie would be difficult, but then I realized I had nothing to grab onto, and it did take me a second. But I did know, and it was evident in the script, that I wanted there to be an evolution between how she is at the beginning and who she is at the end. And at the beginning, she is a doll, and she doesn't introspect, and she's never experienced something like shame, and she's never experienced, there's so many things she hasn't ever experienced. And so she's certain. She says everything with absolute certainty, and she moves with absolute certainty. And she's wide and open to the world, because why wouldn't you be? There's nothing bad. There's no pain. There's nothing bad. She can say happily to Ken, like, you can go now. I don't want you here. Like, I want to see my friends. It's my house, not yours. Night. Like, and it can be like that. And then towards the middle, it starts getting shaky and wobbly and fragile and vulnerable. And by the end, she is human. She's become human before she's even realized to ask for that. And so we did a couple things, wigs got smaller, less hair, more realistic. Costumes got less structured, geometric patterns or dots or whatever turned into like florals or pastels, less certain colors, less certainty really, to mirror like what that evolution of life would be.
Very subtly, subliminally.
Yeah, by the end, I wanted people to kind of weirdly be thinking like, oh, I feel like I'm just watching Margot weirdly, as opposed to like the character I thought I saw at the beginning. So I don't know if it had that effect, but that's what we were trying to accomplish. And then weirdly, I was kind of playing my mom a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, because my mom is so pure. Like, she's so, I don't know, maybe you'll meet her one day. It'll make sense. But it was funny, one day on set, I was like a little bit conscious that I was doing that, but one day on set, my mom was visiting, and Greta like turned to me, she was like, oh my God, you're playing your mom, aren't you? And I was like, yeah, a little bit, yeah.
And what does she think of the movie?
She loved it. Yeah, do you know what though? Afterwards, I was like, did you like that? Did you like that line where Ruth says, us mothers stand still so that our daughters can see how far they've gone? I was like, did that make you cry? And she was like, no. And I was like, oh, really? She was like, I thought it was a very well-written line, though. I was like, oh, I'm so angry that didn't make me. What did your parents think of Oppenheimer?
Oh.
Do they, like, praise you or try to keep you down to earth and, like, do that thing that your family does where they're, like, keeping your feet on the ground?
They are very proud, by it all. I really wanted them to see it, like with an audience in the cinema. I think they saw it in Paris, and they were the movie's a little overwhelming,
How I saw it?
No.
I was in a cinema, and it was a really hot day in London, and the AC stopped working.
Oh no. Oh no.
It was almost like we're having a 4D experience.
It was like Chris designed it.
Because it was like literally like getting hotter and hotter, and they're building the bomb. And by the time the bomb was going off, I was like literally dripping with sweat with everyone else in here. It was so hot.
And excellent.
I'm so proud. So proud of what you have accomplished.
We should talk about the costumes. So you're clearly still not sick pink then.
No, I'm not. I'm not done with pink yet. Yeah, the costumes were incredible. I mean, pink, you just can't have a Barbie movie without the color pink. And everyone really got on board with that. Like, I'd make on Wednesdays we wear pink day.
Really?
Do you know that reference from Mean Girls?
I had forgotten that reference.
On Wednesdays, they wear pink.
Okay.
And so if you didn't wear pink on set, you got a fine, and then I'd donate it to charity. And honestly, people leaned in. Like, I was like, you can wear pink socks, that's enough. And people were like, no, I'm happy to, like, It's always like the guys, I feel like, that are like, oh, finally I have permission to wear pink and get dressed up.
Every Wednesday?
Every Wednesday.
How long did you shoot for?
Quite a long time.
Okay.
How many days was it in the end?
That's a lot of...
I mean, it was at least 5 months.
It's a lot of pink additions to...
I have so much pink in my wardrobe now.
Sure
I wasn't really a pink girl before, but, leaning into it. But the costumes were amazing, and there were so many. Like Jacqueline Duran, who Greta worked with before, is extraordinary, and her references, there was meant to be a bit of an evolution through the decades as well, like starting in the 50s when Barbie was created, and then it kind of morphed into 60s and 70s, 80s. By the time we're on the boardwalk, we're wearing like neon, kind of like 80s, 90s, and then gets a bit early noughties and then modern day. So yeah, it was clever and it was fun, and everyone would just squeal every day. We'd get to set and see what each other are wearing and be like, ah, you look amazing.
And you
And
guys,
like I said, I think the guys, like our Kens, loved it more than anything.
they really seem to get into it.
It would get crazier and crazier until Ryan would be like, I think I need a mink and I need it would just get insane.
You actually built the sets
Yeah.
for real, yeah.
Yeah, it was incredible. We built that whole cul-de-sac. The dream houses are like several stories high. Everything's like hand painted, all the backdrops hand painted. We made all of Barbie Land in miniature, filmed the miniatures. Everything was very tactile, and the transportation sequence, all that. It's like practical and like a diorama, and there's like, literally people like holding a rod with a butterfly dangling off it. And, everything was just, the handmade quality of it was so intrinsic to the movie anyway, because it's meant to be a toyetic world. It's meant to be toys, and you should feel like you could reach in and grab it all.
But it does make a difference, I think. I mean, I don't know if the audience knows on a kind of a conscious level, but I really believe that they experience on a subliminal level that this is happening in camera.
I agree, and I know Chris Nolan definitely lives by the same rules of like everything's in camera, everything's practical. And I think what CGI can do, what VFX can do, is like incredible, and as a tool to complement work, it's amazing. But when it's relied on too heavily, there's something about that like infinite quality to like looking at something that's just like could go on forever, where I don't know, I find I get detached. I'm kind of like, something in me can sense that it's not real, and so I don't really care. I don't really care if that thing explodes or that building falls down, because it's not real. Like, you just know when it's not real.
Yeah, I think we do now. I think definitely we're kind of inured to it at this stage. On Oppenheimer, there was no set bills. It was all real locations. Every single location was the actual place. A lot of it was like Oppenheimer's house, where we shot in New Mexico, was actually where he lived. Yeah, with Kitty. So when myself and Emily were filming in there,
How good's Emily?
She is astonishing.
I love her
in the
so
movie.
much.
I think there's just like, she can do anything, Emily. It's kind of...
I would watch her in anything. I don't need a log line. I don't need a title. If I see she's in it, I'm like, I'm in. I'm going to love it. She's so charming.
Mind-blowing.
Yeah. But yeah, so you shot in New Mexico. Where else?
Yeah, and I think you can feel the kind of, this sounds kind of like cliche or hokey or something, but I feel like you can feel the vibrations in the room. I feel like they transfer to the character. I feel like we then have an extra level of connection or respect for the environment or for the characters, particularly if they're real life characters that actually live there.
Yeah.
So yeah, and we shot in Oppenheimer's office in Princeton, which was right next to Einstein's office in the real location. And there was many of those instances where you feel, you kind of, it's goosebumps, Like, I'm not a superstitious person or anything like that, but
No, you feel the vibes.
You feel it.
Yeah.
Chris wanted that.
Yeah.
And for example, the last sequence in the movie, we'll flash backwards and forwards to it, but the whole big hearing at the end, that was in this horrible, shitty, little bureaucratic, tiny room somewhere outside of LA. And it was really hot, and we were all of us stuffed into this room with this huge IMAX camera. We could have easily built that in a big stage and pulled away the walls, but Chris wanted it to feel like claustrophobic, sort of awful feeling that you would have had in one of those rooms. And they deliberately wanted to put him in a room like that to make him feel like he was worthless and that it was kind of meaningless, and to demean him. Wow. And it worked. Yeah.
Can I ask something off topic?
Sure.
In my opinion, there are two kinds of people in this world. There are the people who are obsessed with Peaky Blinders, and then there's the people who haven't seen Peaky Blinders.
Right.
I obviously sit in the first category. So can we please talk about Tommy fucking Shelby just for like 1 minute?
Sure, if you like, yeah.
What was it like?
Oh.
I mean, that was years and years of your life.
Yeah, it's like 10. That was also 10-year adventure. We started shooting that at the end of 2012.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
I love the song that plays at the very end of the last season.
Oh, yeah.
All the Tired Horses.
Yeah, Lisa O'Neill.
I love that song so much.
Yeah.
It's on my cry playlist. Like,
Yes,
like cry on set.
There's a Dylan song and she took it and just like,
It's so good.
yeah,
Love it.
she's special.
Is there going to be a spin-off movie?
I mean, I'm open to the idea.
Really?
I've always thought that if there's more story to tell.
Of course there's more story to tell.
Well, we'll see. I mean,
rode off on a horse. Like, what now?
Who knows? I
Please
guess.
do it. Please.
Well, that's very kind of you to say. I mean, I'm totally open to the idea, but I also do think it was a kind of perfect
I know.
6 seasons,
I know.
and we managed.
You don't want to wreck it.
Well, it's kind of sometimes hard to kind of move into the film format, and I do like the ambiguity of the ending.
I know.
But I'm always open to like a great script. Who wouldn't be?
So
Who wouldn't be?
good.
Oh,
Do
thanks for
people just come up
asking.
to you all the time
But a lot, yeah, a lot.
and say, Tommy fucking Shelby?
They do, yeah.
And have you lost a lung smoking all those cigarettes?
It wasn't great, but then of course I did Oppenheimer, and it's like a pipe and a.
I
and
literally
fags.
thought that I was watching it. I was like, we need to get him to a doctor.
Yeah.
He's smoked so many cigarettes
The
on
thing
screen.
about those
The herbals.
now they have a warning on the herbals as well.
Do they?
Yes, you can't win.
Shit.
So if people shout at me, Tommy Shelby, is it inevitable that people? I would imagine they shout at you, but they might go, "Hey Barbie" or whatever. Is that what happens?
A lot of high Barbies.
Yeah.
A lot of, yeah. It's funny because the waving thing wasn't that big of a thing. And then on set, it just got bigger and more ridiculous to the
it kinda
point where it
grew.
was like, the waving was like so, something about Barbie, like she needs to be so earnest that she's almost a dork. But she's like, but you're kind of like, no, but I still like you.
Yeah.
And somehow waving really really just summed that up. And so we just kept doing it. And then Greta really made a meal out of the hi Barbie, hi Ken, hi, that whole bit. And then hi Alan. And yeah, now people on the street say hi Barbie a lot.
Probably.
I
for
like
the
it. I'd rather
rest.
people be shouting that at me than other things. So
This is true
I'll take it
for the rest of your life.
for the rest of my life.
And tell me, speaking of that, do you feel like there's a sequel in the works? If you're asking me about a peaky movie,
You're allowed to ask that because I did ask you the thing. I same thing like you. I'm like, we put everything
Yeah.
into that movie and it's so good
Yeah.
that I'm like, oh no. And I was also so proud of the fact that it wasn't like an original, that it was an original. It wasn't a sequel
Yeah.
or a prequel or
Yeah.
a remake, which is getting rarer and rarer
Uh-huh.
these days. And your movie too is original, and that's amazing that we both got these big theatrical opportunities for original ideas.
Yeah.
That part of me almost, I'm like, oh no, if we do a Barbie too, then we just, I don't
Yeah.
know. But at the same time, I would do anything to be back on the set. And I'd do
Yeah.
anything to be on set with Greta again and Ryan again and playing Barbie again. Like playing Barbie is the best. It's just so joyful. So again, if it was,
So you're not saying.
so it's not no.
Yeah.
Not no.
Yeah.
But also it would take a lot for it to be
Yeah, to live up to what you guys
to
did.
live up
yeah.
to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi Barbie. Hi Barbie. Hi Barbie. Hi Barbie.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi Barbie. Hi Barbie. Hi Barbie. Hi Ken. Hi Barbie.
Obviously, I've now revealed that I am a big fan of yours. Not just Peaky Blinders. I also love your Sleep Story on the Calm app.
Oh,
And
thank you.
just everything you've done, really.
Well, likewise.
I mean, it is crazy that after all this is literally the first time I'm ever meeting you. So
Yeah, likewise.
it's been, no, it's
Very formal setting.
I know, I know.
Well, nice to chat to you, Margot.
Hopefully not for the last time.
Exactly, exactly.